fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got everything outside of both of them. Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up top.
Oh my God! Big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go. Oh no!
That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my God!
God, what?
This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
The championship comes down to 2 more rounds worth of racing. 1 sprint, 1 endurance. And my goodness, what a track to go to when it comes to 1 sprint race. It's a track which can do endurance racing, but it chooses not to. For the penultimate round in AOSC, we are in Belgium. We are at Spa-Francorchamps, and every single point matters between now and the end of the season. In these Australian touring cars, every lap now will prove to be vital. The first times coming in qualifying at the moment, 20 minutes to get a time in. 5 minutes have already transpired, and it is Marlon McMullen, second in the championship, who holds himself on pole position at the moment. 2:21.253. Kyle Stokes, the former championship leader, is in second, and it is Brett Loxton who is in third for Zuva Racing. But let's get the championship standings then up on your screen. And firstly, let's focus to the sprint championship. That has been going on. Jordan Ross in control of that one for Evolution Racing Team. He has 95 points of a lead and is pretty much set here today to take the title, but he needs a little bit of help from his friends if he is to make that happen. Any small mistake costs him, and the likes of Marlon McMullen, Jack Boyd, or even Jackson Susan Harlow could get in for the mix. When it comes to the overall championship, Jordan Ross still himself holds the lead. His gap is 134 points, I do believe it is. My maths is completely off here this morning, whatever you want to call it. But Mullen in second. Kyle Stokes has had a horrible second half to the season. He's only down in third, with Jack Boyd fourth and James Scott rounding out the top 5. The other 3 on your graphic: Michael Taliancic, Michael Cracknell, and Jack Suslan Harlow rounding out the top 8. But this track is very difficult for a number of reasons. The biggest one of the lot is just how narrow and tight the off-track instant points here are at Spa-Francorchamps. It's worth noting that they have been relaxed from where they were, say, 2 years ago, where this track was absolutely nightmarish to try and plot a way around, but still a little bit easier, but still a very formidable challenge as drivers now look to search and find their laps. The top 6 at the moment are now Jackson Susan Harlow, who's just gone half a second quicker than anybody else out on the field. Marlon McMullen second. Kyle Stokes now drops to third. Brett Loxton in fourth, and it is Greg Sharp who now rounds out the top 5 on a 2:21.3. But I'm Jake Sperry, and we will have in just a couple of moments Scott Fountain joining us in the commentary booth. Jay Kennedy is as crook as a dog out there on cameras for us. So get well soon, then hopefully we can see in our conversation for a little bit further on. But let's focus on Jordan Ross for the moment in the number 143. Only 28 drivers so far have set a qualifying time. Jordan Ross, not one of them at the moment. He is just behind Troy Allen out on circuit, and this should be a breeze to get by. A little half block there, but goodbye and good night. Jordan Ross comfortably makes his way through just before the double left-hander at Pujon. This beautiful corner, which you try and put the power down as early as you can, always dealing with the understeer of this sort of vehicle before you head into Fania, the right-left chicane. that has always proven to be one about maintaining momentum before you then hit the brakes even more into Stavolo, this right-hander, which always has been very contentious with rain. iRacing working on rain, of course, and hopefully we could see that in 2020, maybe 2021. But Jordan Ross now coming out of corner, Paul Frere, the second right-hander, the often forgotten name with the second right-hander, and now he's heading through the ever-changed left before Blanchimont and the very contentious final chicane, which has had a number of iterations, but I think he's just pushed slightly too hard there at Blanchimont. He may have just got himself an off-track instant point there for using all of the curb on the exit. You've got to be so narrow when it comes to Blanchimont. He'll make his way through the bus stop chicane. Some say it has been butchered over the years. It's a very difficult off-camber left into an off-camber right. Across the line, though, he does a time. It's a 2:21.5. That is only good enough for 11th position. So championship leader maybe in a bit of trouble behind drivers like Adam Gardner, Sean Thompson, Jack Boyd and Thomas Hinds. Adam Gardner has done fantastically with his qualifying so far. In the Mark 1 Esports car, he finds himself in 10th position and he is looking to go even faster, but he dropped to 10th on his last lap. By a lot of drivers are looking for some times. There are a few drivers maybe a little bit down the order. Jacob Knight and Jamie McKnight. Well, there's two Knights at a round table, and currently they are sharing row 10 at the moment on the grid. They, in the O24 and the O27, are on 2:22.5s and 2:22.6s. That is almost 2 seconds off of the pace of your pole sitter at the moment. Jackson, Suzlin, Harlow, no one has been able to hold a candle in the wind to them. Worth noting that qualifying conditions are cool. It's 21 degrees in the air, 24 degrees on the track. Winds blustering in from the west at 10 kilometers an hour. And everybody knows that these conditions are exactly the same as they had in pre-qualification, which happened just about half an hour before the start of this event. And they now know that they've got the next push that they've got to go forward, as all these drivers are looking and they are searching for some very, very good times out there on the circuit at the moment. But going to join into the conversation, Scott Fountain here for this one. Fonty, welcome to the commentary booth. We're currently in qualifying. We're halfway through. It's half a second at the moment for Jackson, Suzlin, Harlow.
There we go. Well, better late than never, right? Sorry, I am late, team. It's, yeah. But hey, looking forward to AOSC at Spa. Absolutely love this track. And what a great series we've got here tonight. Great turnout, as always, on a Friday night. And Jackson, Susan and Harlow, yeah, he's on pole. Marlon McMullen doing a great job sitting there in P number 2. Kyle Stokes, P3. Brett Loxton, our winner from Monday night's official iRacing V8 Supercar Series. He's also out here. And great speed from Greg Sharp early on as well.
Yeah, he's inside the top 5 on a 2:21.3. He finds himself just 0.6 of a second off of where he needs to be. Let's go on board though with the 717 machine. This is David Kinmond at the moment. He's looking to try and just bridge a lap together. He comes under the Bridgestone sponsorship on the brakes into the bus stop, and it's so difficult. You almost have to rotate the rear axle, make it oversteer just to get the turn in that's needed for a corner as difficult as this. Over the very short run to the start finish line, 2:23.4. He sets a time, but it's only 35th position. That is not what the doctor will be ordering for that one. But there are drivers who are out of position at the moment. Jordan Ross, championship leader, is only in 11th position right now. Michael Taliancic finds himself in 12th, and Guy Leach is down in 17th position. So for drivers who maybe are struggling with this one here today, Fonzie, surely it has to be said that a track that's not visited often when it comes to Australian touring cars, this has to be one of those tracks which those who are more natural drivers are going to have an edge.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. It is a very, very difficult circuit, and lots of runoff areas, but those, you know, and we're not going to see cars in the wall as such, but don't forget we do see off-track penalties, and I know from previous experience of racing here myself that they are very easy to get. So drivers will be getting close to potentially being on reaching off-track limits penalties later on in the race. But yeah, I'm sure we're going to see plenty of action unfolding. Such a great race circuit. I was privy enough to go and watch the Spa 24 hour in real life here last year, and By far the best circuit I have ever been to for facilities and just ease of access for, people watching the racing. You can literally walk around the whole track, and the atmosphere there is incredible. So I always look forward to us having this track on any V8 Supercar calendar. It doesn't matter what championship we're running in, because it always manages to turn it on.
It always does, and as we all know, Fonty, the greatest facilities at any racetrack is, of course, your caravan when you turn up to see some racing. But Jack Boyd looking to push for the line. 221
in the car park, actually. Outside.
Oh, God. Well, just talking about slipping.
There is a big camping complex actually on the hill, and I pointed out when a car comes past it, and it was quite entertaining walking past there. I can imagine it would be very similar to what you would see up at the Bathurst 1000 on the hill. I've heard great stories of what happens at the Bathurst 1000 up on top of that hill, and well, same goes here at Circuit des Spa-Francorchamps, and I think we're actually just going past the area where it is. I think it's just on... No, it's not quite there. It's a little bit before back here. But anyway, back to the racing. Kyle Stokes, we are focused on at the moment. Kyle doing a fantastic job. One person who is doing a great job, who we have really seen come a long way in recent months, and that's Wayne Pengelly. We saw a big incident between himself and Jared Filsell at the V8 Scops Bathurst 1000 last year that took out some front-running drivers, but Wayne's driving skill has really increased, and it's really great to see.
Jack Boyd went to second. In the meanwhile, whilst we get one of Fonty's most famous anecdotes, Jordan Ross is into 5th position in qualifying, a vital improvement that he's needed. This has moved Brett Loxton down to 6th position, Greg Sharp to 7th, and Ross Rizzo down to 8th place, as Kyle Stokes has also gone into 4th position over the time that we have been talking. So it's all change up and down this field. 43 drivers set a time. Those who haven't include Brenton O'Brien, Troy Allen, Mark Newton, Benito Montalbano, Simon Pitt, Tony Gaffer, and Darren McKenzie. They have 4 minutes and under if they want to set a magic time. And the worst thing about a lap like this is, if you've got under 4 minutes and you're still on that pit road, you've got 1 flying lap remaining. It is a 2:20 onwards lap time that we are seeing here today. A long lap, which means that all 7 kilometers of this track is going to be a nightmare to navigate.
Oh, it is a long lap time. I know that Jay Kennedy personally would struggle to get around the lap. That's 30 seconds long. So just imagine what it would be like if it was 2 minutes 20.
Way to kick a man when he's ill.
He knows that the net is there. We always seem to have it. I just can't throw it directly at him and get any response. So I'm going to have to throw it at you instead, Sperry.
Well, very, very true. But for time moment, we're going to be seeing a lot of drivers on a lap. Ross Rizzo is one of them in the 784 as he makes his way through Stavilo. The right-hander before corner Paul Frere follows straight afterwards, trying to get on the power as early as he can. Runs a lot over the curb there on that exit of the corner. He's got to be careful of that because, of course, those off-track instant points, they are very plentiful around this track is probably the best way to describe it. Through Blanchimont, which has been opened out, used to be a lovely gravel pit on the outside, and more now it has been tilkified with the off-track runoff areas that you see quite a bit around all of these modern circuits. On the brakes, right left chicane, final chance to push the line. He'll have 1 more lap after this though, don't forget that, but 1 lap only. He does a 2:21.2 and he moves himself to the 2nd row.
There we go. Not a bad time at all there from Ross Rizzo.
Fantastic time from him, but focus now to Jordan Ross, the championship leader. He needs to step up his game a bit more, but that should end it. He will not get back around to set another flying lap. He is out of time. Brett Loxton, though, on a lap in the 2:09, the Zuva racing car, heading through the Fania chicane, which has always been this fantastic flowing momentum corner. Back on the brakes into Stavilo, and Brett Loxton down in 7th position. He knows it's only a 1/10 of a second needed, and he will find himself up in 3rd.
Yeah, there we go. So Brett Loxton, he saw him take out or claim last season's championship in the AOSC championship, and very good driver. We've seen in the past that Brett does sometimes tend to get tangled up in other people's incidents, and but he did manage to claim his first Monday night Supercars victory win, which was absolutely fantastic for himself and the Zuva Racing crew. I know that those guys were over the moon about that, and well, they have every right to be. So what can he do on this lap? No improve. Yes, there was an improvement, and Brett Loxton moves himself up to P3. So great lap there from Brett Loxton. He has shuffled Ross Rizzo off that second row back to the third row.
Sorry, I've got to cut you off. That was so close from Jack Boyd. He improves time, but he's caught out by just 24 thousandths. He's slower still than Susan Harlow, and that could have been the best shot of everybody. McMullen can't go any quicker. Guy Leach comes across the line. Has he found a little bit more pace? No, he hasn't. He's going on to an outlap, and now there are just 10 seconds now remaining here when it comes to the qualifying times. Can anyone just get a last gap lap in? Can Wayne Pengilly cross the line with a second to spare? No, he can't. So he'll be the first over the line, and he does a 2:22.1. That moves into 18th position. He jumps over Scott O'Keefe, who drops one position in the end. Jamie McKnight cannot do anything better. Sean Thompson is in 9th position, 3/10, and he's into the second row of the grid. Thompson making the push in the KRF car, 092, over to the line, 2:21.6. He's slower. He couldn't find it in the end. Darren McKenzie coming in and looking to try and find a time. He does not find a time that he is wanting. Backwards now to Michael Taliancic in the 777, in 13th position at the moment. Maybe not what he's wanting. He's behind Curtis Reed in the 33, Adam Gardner, drivers that you don't often see Taliancic fighting with. Through the final corners he comes along, and can he find exactly what he's looking for? He needs maybe a couple tenths. 2:21.8, doesn't. The track just heating up a little bit more. Jet Bennett over the line. He puts in a nice time as Ian Bird looking for times. Brian Borgs all over the curves, as is Jackson Suitland Harlow looking for his lap time as well. Number 75 looking to push those times. Ian Bird has just finished his times up, and he is all good. Brian Borg, though, finds himself in 14th position, and he's all over the place, and that will pretty much signal the end of Brian Borg's quick run. He will not go any faster. Even if he tries to attempt the final section, he'll dive into the very, very slow pit road. Susan Harlow could just set a benchmark if he just goes ever so slightly faster. We'll see what he can do as he crosses the stripe, and he will not go quicker in the end. Not bad, but not much more that could be done. Guy Leach is in 21st position at the moment. The V8 Sleuth car through the final couple of corners, and hoping to find maybe just a few tenths of a second to move inside the top 15. Guy Leach, 2:22 flat, it's 16th position, 3,000 short of Matt Stratford. Scott Gamble across the line for a 2:23, and that will be that then. So grid as follows. Jackson Susan Harlow then takes pole position ahead of Jack G. Boyd. It's effectively a Jack front row with Brett Loxton and Marlon McMullen on the second row. McMullen crucially ahead of his title rival. Ross Rizzo starts in the third row with Kyle Stokes in 6th position. Jordan Ross will have a lot of work to do starting from 7th with Greg Sharp in 8th. A good qualifying from him. Sean Thompson will start from 9th as Thomas Hinds rounds out the top 10.
Then we move back to P11. Adam Gardner, Curtis Reed will be in P12. Michael Taliancic 13. Brian Borg 14th. Matt Stratford in 15th. 16th we have, sorry, just lost that. 16th we have Guy Leach. 17th Gene Fiddies. Jacob Knight in 18th. Wayne Pengilly 19th. And Scott O'Keefe in the 20.
Well, Ian Bird's playing blackjack. He's in 21st with Stephen Varga alongside. He's a little bit down the order. Matthew Deere and Scott Clark are on row 12 with Jamie McKnight and Matt Lapoidovin sharing row 13. It's Matt Muggleton and Nathan Tregarthen on the 14th row with Benito Montalbano and Wayne Taylor rounding 30.
Scott Gamble will be in 31st. Jamie Stovall 32nd. 33rd, we will find ourselves Mitchell Bales, Daniel Stevens 34th, Grant Cairns 35th, David Kinman, expected a little bit more from him back in 36. Darren McKenzie, 37. Jonathan Bean in 38th. Mark Samuel, 39th. Shane Evans in 40th.
Well, 444 finds himself 41st. Jet Bennett there with a 223.455. Chris Barnes will be alongside him. Brenton O'Brien very down the order for his liking. He will start this one from 43rd with Trent Gosley alongside. Then there's Troy DeBono and Luke Page. Luke Page incredibly down the order with Troy Allen, Tony Gaffer, 47 and 48. Two drivers who didn't set times were Simon Pitt and Mark Newton. But it's gridding up procedure time here, and it is, of course, they're running the Grand Prix pit layout, not going to be running the endurance layout, which starts heading up through Eau Rouge and Radion. They're going to take the La Source hairpin as the opening corner of the night, which is very much a bottleneck corner, very easy to dive down the inside in the early stages. This is one of these tracks where having a good launch off the line means absolutely everything, but it's not the world, because you can make that run up the Kemmel into the Les Coumans Malmedy complex, which so vital. And at the worst possible time, Michael Taliancic, who qualified himself in 13th position, has just caught himself with technical issues, so he will not be taking to the start of this grid, and his race is already one lap down at least and all over for him. So what a shame for Michael Taliancic, who was looking to make a charge through the field. But for Jackson Susan Harlow, it's a case of, what could have been if he started this season, because he has been the man to beat at least the last 6 rounds of this championship, endurance or otherwise. And he is the biggest man in form at the moment. Green flag drops, and let's get ourselves underway at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. Jack Boyd will challenge every step of the way as they head to the La Source hairpin. For the very first time, he'll have to go around the outside to make that happen. And look at that, blocking on that outside. Susan Harlow using all of the track width. But look at this, Jack Boyd's going to come straight back at him. They're too wide as they make their way to Eau Rouge and Radion for the very first time in this one, as is Kyle Stokes in the background. And look at this, around the outside. He will try and go. He will go off. He'll get a slowdown penalty for that, as now McMullen's going to try and take advantage, as will Brett Loxton. 3 wide, they go up the Kemmel, and they could push it 4 wide. They very much brave it. It is 4 wide. Susan Harlow's in the grass, and now they're 3 wide for the race lead, as now all of a sudden, here comes Brett Loxton looking for the move. McMullen has it into Les Coumans.
Oh, what a start that was. McMullen, absolute pace coming up over the hill there and down that back straight. Was in the perfect position. He just slingshot them all. Great start there for Brett Loxton, but Susan Harlow, he'll be absolutely kicking himself.
He absolutely will, and there's cars around in the background as well, which we have just managed to catch as well. That's not ideal at all, and they will have a lot to do. And Wayne Pengilly, well, he seemingly can't catch a break because he's involved in another incident, but we are still going good at the front of the field, because look at this, Kyle Stokes trying to get down the inside of Brett Loxton at Buhon. He's not going to get it. Susan Harlow's going to try and go around the outside here of Ross Rizzo here in this battle going on for 6th position on the road. No room being given between them, as now Greg Sharp's under pressure behind as well, as that's Thomas Hinds trying to go down the inside in the Sim Racing Channel car, and he will now look to go around the outside at Fania, but Greg Sharp trying to hold it in. He's got nothing, and now Hinds is going to pick up a position. What about Curtis Reed as well? He's had a storm and he's just tapped Greg Sharp, and he will go spread eagle at Stabilo. 3 wide they'll go, but they all keep it nice and dandy.
Yes, what an interesting start. This is such an interesting place to get off the line, especially these big horse-powered supercars, and well, nearly everyone got through their lap. Just seeing a car go really wide there. Not too sure who that was. It was Scott O'Keefe.
Not ideal for Scott O'Keefe, but able to keep this one going as they all make the brakes for the chicane for the first time. And Susan Harlow's through on Jordan Ross, bumped side by side for second again, as now it's they're all coming together. Brett Loxton gets 2 taps in on Kyle Stokes, and this will allow Susan Harlow the chance to get back down the inside here at the La Source hairpin, and I think he's just about going to get that happen. Big dive from Curtis Reed, and bang, he's got into Ross Rizzo, and there's drama, massive drama at La Source, and the track almost blocked on the inside. Everyone having to run to escape as another car turns around. I think that was Jacob Knight.
Yeah, Brian Borg's been caught up in that one, and we've got about 4 or 5 cars. We've got a car blowing up, so that would potentially cause a yellow. He has got the car moving, but he is past the pit entry, so chances are that car is not going to be able to make it all the way back around. LeBlanc replay on screen now, so big thanks to LeBlanc for sponsoring the replay of this series.
It all happened with Curtis Reed. He outbroke himself as actually Brett Loxton spun himself at the Lacoum complex. He must have damage and he is in disaster mode as he drops miles backwards through the field. So disasters all around and Brett Loxton all on his own. If we can just continue it on, caution comes out and I'm not surprised here. Brett Loxton just turns himself around, lost it through the midway of the corner, 360 his way back and he's in the fence.
Yeah, disappointing. I tell you now, that's it was all on there into turn one with just Ross Rizzo getting tagged around in the back, and then
he had more issues at a Rivage as he got a tap from the geodesic car, that being the Gene Fiddis, who got the curb on the inside, outbroke himself trying to get a 2-for-1 offer at the supermarket, and Brett Loxton, well, I believe you put the curse on him there, Fonty. You said he always gets caught up in someone else's incident. Well, that was very much the case there.
Yes, it certainly was. Certainly don't want to put the commentator's curse on him, but yeah, not the way that he wanted that to happen. Yes, and then we just see now come together with one of the geodetic cars, so not a great start there, but yeah, it all unfolded from that turn one incident with Brian Ball and Ross Rizzo, and then we've just seen cars going around after that point, so yeah, not ideal at all. And Jacob Knight, well, he'll certainly be disappointed about the whole thing. Car isn't looking in very, very second-hand condition at the moment.
Well, we've just got word from Nick Hausler, who is our chief steward here at AOSC. He said that the safety car has come out for the incidents that we've seen in the opening couple of laps. There will still be, of course, the random competition caution that comes out. So one of these rare circumstances where 2 cautions come out. Now, these drivers have to be very clever about the way they drive this because they can save a lot more fuel now over the course of this run compared to anywhere else. And I would say that if someone was incredibly brave and knew that they could save fuel, they're probably looking to come in at around lap 5 instead of what we think is the earliest pit stop window available to them, which is lap number 6, because they've got 2 chances to save the fuel that they have available to them. Let's just run through the top 10 now of how things look. It's Marlon McMullen who leads, and he will be very disappointed at the fact that he doesn't lead this race by even more, and he's disappointed about the incidents behind. Kyle Stokes finds himself in second. It's Suzlin Harlow in third. Jordan Ross is there in 4th position. He's gained 3 off the start. Curtis Reed, despite the fact that he's caused the big incident there at turn number 1, he finds himself in 5th position after all of that, with Thomas Hinn 6th and Adam Gardner 7th. Greg Sharp is gone absolutely nowhere in 8th. Jack Boyd's found himself a way back to 9th. And Matt Stratford rounds out the top 10. It's been a crazy start to the race here at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps.
Yes, it certainly has been. Probably one of the biggest winners out of this would happen to be probably Guy Leach. He's sitting there in P11, so he's managed to stay out of trouble. Thomas Hinz has certainly made his way through the order as well.
David Kinman has found
word.
Yeah.
David Kinman, 18 cars he's got past, so it's been like dodgems, and he's managed to dodge all of those incidents. But I've just been thinking there, Jake, about this whole fuel situation. Now, the fact we are going to see another safety car, you would almost be able to pit now and grab yourself a new set of rubber and some fuel, and then almost make it if you were good enough at saving fuel, and then with another safety car. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see.
Well, we've got a concertina effect happening as they head to Pouhon there, as I believe Jack Boyd was incredibly slow heading up to the pack, and everyone behind, Stratford, Leach, Varga, Biddis, Thompson, all of them getting caught out there by drivers just being a little bit slow behind the safety car. Of course, that iRacing Porsche for safety car has the lights on it, so they will go at least another lap around here behind this safety car, and they will have at least 2 more laps of safety car with the second competition caution. All of this is just laps being ticked off from Marlon McMullen. But Fonty, you have to feel here, McMullen had himself a 1.5 second gap at the front of the field, and Suzlin Harlow would have had to have worked incredibly hard to get back to him. Now the field is bunched up. He needs some help from 888, who will want to hold up the field to get Jordan Ross back through.
Yeah, I think you're right. Now, I'm just riding on board with McMullen, and everyone seems to be fuel saving as much as they can. So, are we going to see everyone dive in that pit lane now? They're not going to have any rubber left, so it depends on how you're going to play it. Whether you stay out there now, or you grab yourself a new set of boots now, don't take much fuel, and then do a second stop. We are going to definitely see that that random safety car again. So I'm really interested to see how this all plays out.
Those at the back of the field probably are in best position to take themselves down on pit road as they pass this time by. They can just put a splash of fuel in to repair the 3 laps. No reason to change those tyres just yet. You've only been using them for 2 laps and you're cooling them around the track right now. So you'll be able to get them back up to temperature and go through once more. But for the time being, at least, it's going to be a really, really interesting battle to see who comes in. None of the top 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 drivers are going to come down in onto the lane. Nobody wants to take themselves down on pit road. Anyone with damage probably will and use their 1 fast repair, but nobody of the top 20 has decided to make that choice to come down onto pit road, and that's a bold strategy. The first one who does come down in is Brian Borgen. He will be off kilter now with the rest of the field.
Probably not a bad call there, I say. You know, you got to throw it up there, don't you? You've really, when you're that far down the field, you've just try anything. Hey, we may see another incident that pulls out a safety car, so those guys would potentially be in a good position. We also see Brenton O'Brien in the lane, so a few cars making their way down. I am seeing that car of Jacob Knight, the very smoky car of Jacob Knight, I should say, in the pit road, so he'll be definitely using that spare car. There we go. So near on half the field are actually going in the lane.
2 big names who are in the pits there were Brett Loxton and Ross Rizzo, so their recovery drives are going to be so vital on how they push forward as they look to try and get through. Jacob Knight comes out of pit road, and someone else who's coming out of pit road right now, and he is 2 laps down at the moment, Michael Taliancic in the 777. If there is a lucky dog, he's the man who will benefit the most out of said lucky dog. He would get around, he'll get a lap, and of course with another caution, he'd get back on the leading lap, but I'm not sure he's going to have that time to be able to make that possible, as he will get himself out and looking to have some racing. So it's going to be all changed now, not in the top 20, but everyone from about 28th on backwards there, Fonty, making that stop, knowing there's absolutely nothing for them to lose.
Well, you're exactly right, and I think you're right by your point before. Kyle Stokes, he's going to want to get past McMullen as quickly as possible if he has any chance of wanting to hold up for Jordan Ross to make his way through. We know how fast Jordan Ross is. We know how fast Marlon is, and we saw the big gap that got extended out there. Marlon is running as a privateer these days, so no teamwork as such needed for him. But yes, it's all going to be very interesting to see how this restart goes.
It very much will be, and now these drivers know that this restart is effectively the big reset on this field. We saw at the start of this race them go 4 wide, drivers going left and right, trying to find a way through. Pandemonium on the Camel. Will we see something very, very similar to that? You can only find out if you continue watching here on the iRacing Sports Network, and make sure you give us a nice little cheeky like and a subscribe as well. The likes help boost the ratings that we see, of course, from videos, and that means more people will get a chance to see it. And of course, if you subscribe, you're going to see so much great content from all of the other big broadcast companies that are coming out and doing some great stuff. RaceSpot TV, the Global Sim Racing Channel, Apex Racing TV, LSR TV. Everyone is looking to hit that next level. Podium Esports as well. Make sure that you check out all of their great content that they are able to put together as well. But the iRacing Porsche first safety car will be due down on pit road this time by. The pace will be behind the 85 of Marlon McMullen, the 888 of Kyle Stokes, who is caught really in 2 minds as well. You have to remember, he's still not out of this championship in 3rd position. Yes, he's had a torrid second half of the season where his qualifyings were really not up to snuff, but he has had that ability to go out there and show people just what he is capable of. Watch out for the 33 of Curtis Reed. He's looked very dicey on the brakes. He's already caused one incident here in the start, but he could be looking to try and make a name for himself as someone who's not normally up at the front. But also keep an eye on Thomas Hinds. He always seems to make positions, and we'll see what the capability is going to be. Pace car will take a big dive right and will now head itself down onto pit road. Easy goes Marlon, and he goes pretty early to try and get this one to work. So green flag drops here on lap 5, and we're back to racing again. But he's not got the best jump in the world. Kyle Stokes has done brilliantly. You're absolutely right, Fonty. He's looking to try and go to the outside to make it work. Up and under. Bang, he's going to have a little bit of contact there as they head through the corner. No harm, no foul on that one, but they go through as Greg Sharp loses the position in the background. Jack Boyd's through.
There we go. So great start there. Certainly wasn't sleeping behind McMullen there. We could see McMullen really getting ready there. I was riding on board, and the revs were rising as they were coming down into that last turn. Great clean start though from everybody. A little bit of a gap formed again. Back to Jordan Ross. Stokes on the outside. Oh, McMullen holding the inside. He's probably not going to get it done here, but he may get it done into the next turn.
And can't quite get it at Malmedy. Suzlin Harlow was trying to find a way through. He's unsettled the rear there from Kyle Stokes, and he might have a chance into Ravache. He looks very early down on the brakes, but can Kyle Stokes hold his line? He can, and this holds up Suzlin Harlow for Jordan Ross. So Stokes now suddenly having to play defense as he heads into Jackie Ick's corner, formerly the corner without a name, as the top 4 have broken away. Curtis Reed, nothing he's able to do. Tregarthen as well, he's furious over the radio. He's not too happy at Jamie McKnight, but we'll pay no attention to that. But it is Marlon McMullen who has been able to defend and was very strong on that defense as he made his way through, and he's got 3 positions on his main title rival as well. The Sprint Championship is one thing, but at the moment he's thinking of the bigger picture, as slightly wide there goes Kyle Stokes. Susan Harlow looking on the outside of Stavelot, and now he's got to try and get a big run off the exit as they make the run out of corner Paul Frere and towards Blanchemont in the final chicane.
Yeah, I think he's struggling with front end grip in that Evolution Racing Commodore. It just looked to be really not coming off the turn too well. A lot of pressure being put on here by Harlow, and Ross is trying to make his way through. This time it's giving a gap to Marlon, which he'll be very happy about, and we're going to see a dive up the inside here for Suzlin Harlow. It looks like he's going to get the job done, and job done. So next target for him will be McMullen.
And he was rotating the car on the brakes as well. He was sliding it into the corner, and that's what Suzlin Harlow does better than anyone else. He maximizes his braking emphasis, and he does that so often and so well, and that is why 9 times out of 10 he's one of the fastest drivers in the field. Next up for him, Marlon McMullen. No shocks there. Thomas Hinds, though, battling for a top 5 position. He's got damage on the rear wing. He's got to be careful of that as he goes up the hill through Radion now and looking towards the Kemmel Straight, and he's just got to try and pick up that draft. But when you've got damage, life's going to be difficult. He's got the Mark 1 car of Adam Gardner behind as well, and probably the most hungriest driver of them all, Jack Boyd, who's still thinking of a top 5. Curtis Reed under pressure. Hinds looking to the inside, but it's only going to be a mirror to scare.
Yeah, Jack Boyd has a very damaged Adam Gardner in front of him, so no rear wing, no boot lid on that car. He'll certainly be struggling, and we know how fast Jack Boyd is, so expect to see a pass happen very soon.
I had an uh-oh there. Gene Fittis there was very much sideways coming out of Malmedy. He was battling with Guy Leach on the outside. The V8 Sleuth car has found a position. It was elementary, my dear Watson. Sean Thompson is there just behind as well in 14th position. He's desperate to get away through it. He gets all shaky over the curb. That massive torque of that beautiful, beautiful vehicle coming into play. A very damaged Holden, but very much was looking to try and find an opportunity to get through, and he just couldn't, coming off the exit there of Jackie Ick.
Here we go. Jackson Susan Harlow putting a lot of pressure under Marlon McMullen now. He certainly seems like he's got a race car which is fast, wants to make the move done. Jackson is very quick and certainly very aggressive at the same time. Well, we all know how aggressive Marlon is, so maybe fireworks might go flying for these guys.
Look at Thomas Hinds, though. He's looking to the outside of Curtis Reed in that battle for fifth. No chance, potentially, of making a move on the brakes as McMullen is going to be completely even to Susan Harlow as they get on the brakes into chicane. Hinds dives down to the inside, as does Jack Boyd. Boyd's going to just try and hold his way through against Adam Gardner. Gardner's going to hang him out to dry, and there's going to be nothing there for Jack Boyd just yet, but they have that run into turn number 1, which is going to be one of the big places to go and make a move. Hinds is going to dive late on the brakes down the inside. Room given there by Curtis Reed, who will try and pick the run up off the exit, but he's got nothing to answer with. Thomas Hinds, I think, has just got the position, or will they go too wide into Eau Rouge? A brave man does it, a brave man holds it, but Hinds has it.
There we go. What a fantastic little battle we're seeing there. That car of Curtis Reed's is certainly looking pretty second-hand. And I think that Thomas Hinds will certainly have the straight line speed, or does he?
Close.
Side-by-side action. He's going to try and stay on the outside. Don't know if he's going to be able to do it. He's going to run out of racing room, but he has done it.
Beautifully done. And look at this. He will hold it up now and allow Adam Gardner the chance to go through. Gardner now stuck on the outside. Jack Boyd's got nowhere to go. He's got to try and pick a lane. He'll play the waiting game. Gardner hung out to dry at reverse. But that's going to be brilliant. The inside work there from Jack Boyd in the 38, who I believe has just managed to pick off a position, or just has he, as they head themselves into Pouron. Gardner's fighting back, but he's going to have nothing on that inside line. Jack Boyd does beautifully to go well. Look up to the front, though. Susan Harlow is waiting for the chance.
Yes, he certainly is. He's looking very racing. He's waiting for that opportunity, waiting for Mullen to make a mistake. That Evolution racing car, though, that isn't going anywhere because he's hanging on the back there, and two Evolution cars together can almost guarantee these guys are going to be working together.
Well, they will be trying to work a way forward, but they have to also remember all the vehicles that are going to try and use the fuel game to make a way back through. So we'll see if that happens. Susan Harlow, though, we're going to try and go through. Look at Thomas Hinds again as well. He's going to try and go around the outside of Blanchemont. A brave man does that. And Hinds, well, even he can't manage to find that as he tries. Defensive line taken at the front of the field, though, as McMullen is now having to defend. He dives in at lap 7, so he's going to make a very early stop here. This is a bold call from Marlon McMullen. Normally the leader goes late. In on pit road as well. Adam Gardner decides, I've had enough. Time to go through as now Susan Harlow under pressure. Look at this, side by side. Here comes Kyle Stokes trying to go to the outside. He can't do it. He chops the nose of Jordan Ross. Behind that as well, Thomas Hinds diving down the inside at turn 1-2, as now he's going to try and get the run here to Eau Rouge and try and settle that finish to get that position once and for all. Kyle Stokes all over the place, and if Jordan Ross gets the run here, Fonzie, this could be perfect.
There we go. So we've seen him back out. Hinds has managed to hold on to that position. Great run over the hill there, but it's not over. Car on the outside.
There late.
Curtis
on the
Reed
brake.
is going to try and do what he did last lap. Is he going to be able to hold on the outside? Hinds is a little bit further up this time, but he has got the inside line for the next turn, and there we go again. He's got him again, so now this is opening the door up there.
It is there for Jack Boyd. What can Boyd do? Look at this. Hinds is going to try and go to the inside at Ravage, and that's going to say Jack Boyd's going to try the outside line this time here at Ravage. He worked it at the inside just a lap ago, and now he'll try it the other way around. Inside now at Jackie Hicks, and Hinds is not going to give this one up, but I think maybe Jack Boyd's got just enough here. They're going to be too wide, so they head to the double left of Pouron, but that is perfect car placement from Jack Boyd, who just about manages to secure that position. Great work from him. Susan Harlow has maintained position with Stokes second and Jordan Ross in third, and no changes in that second pack, which now houses Greg Sharp, Matt Stratford, Guy Leach, and Stephen Varga all in it. John Thompson is going backwards with Gene Fiddes, as well as Matt Lapoida then in that little scrap as well. It's all about who's pitting where, and let's not forget, for those who are leading who haven't pitted, or sorry, who have pitted, it's Brett Loxton down in 27th position, so keep an eye on Brett. He is the man to keep a focus on with Brian Ball.
Yeah, there we go. Just took a quick look. Marlon McMullen, he's come out in P32, so if Marlon can stay out of trouble, not get tangled up in anything, expect to see him back in the hunt. But yes, Brett Loxton, he'll be wanting to fight his way back through, but this battle has not finished.
In comes Thomas Hins then.
Yep, Thomas Hins in the lane. So Jack Boyd, that battle between Jack Boyd and Thomas Hins, well, there's one less car in that now. Got Matt Stratford in the lane.
And both of them will look to try and make that early stop, because remember, if they get caught with the caution, that's going to be disaster, because making that stop under caution, yes, it's technically quicker, but when all the field is bunched up because the first lap of pitting is closed, they're all going to be in trouble. Here comes Jordan Ross, though.
Oh, how is that?
Look at that! Jordan!
Might get a slowdown, though.
Well, Jack Boyd's got to be careful. I think he's just got away with that. We'll see if he's got a slow down penalty. He's just gone all the way around the outside, and you can see there, he's just closing up there. Greg Sharp right onto the rear with the draft. He's got nothing. Curtis Reed back down the inside, trying to pick this position up.
Oh.
That was brave. He tried it on lap 1, and just behind there's a vehicle going off. It's a Mark 1 car. It's Stephen Varga who will drop positions, and a slowdown. Big slide coming out of the exit of Malmedy there for Curtis Reed. Down the inside now will look Jack Boyd, and Boyd's going to give him a slight tap as they go through the corner. Not got this line sorted as they head their way to Jackie X. This is beautiful battling between them, Fonty.
Yes, this is absolutely amazing racing. Door-to-door action, but no one certainly doing anything out of control. And it's just looking at Jet Bennett now, so just looks like it's
still going.
A bit of an incident. There's
Sorry, they're
battle,
still
though,
going.
continuing.
It is,
Side
as they
by
come
side.
out to little wiggle coming along for Jack Boyd. He is resilient here, is Curtis Reed. Worth noting as well as Guy Leach, I believe it is, diving down the inside of Greg Sharp. He's going to go around the outside of the second part of Fania now to get this one to work. Reed with a big mistake as well, as he chops the nose off there of Jack Boyd all over the curb, trying to find every inch to find a way through. Worth noting that Jordan Ross is through on Kyle Stokes for second position. He did that just as Curtis Reed was trying to defend from a certain Jack Boyd going around the outside. He's now going to try and do it again. Don't tell me he's going to try a Blanchemont now, trying the Max Verstappen move, and he's going to run out of road to try and make that happen. Not even the bravest of souls like Jack Boyd goes around the outside of Blanchemont. He's thinking, I don't have that much of a death wish. Down the inside then at the bus stop chicane. He's going to go in really deep and check the field up. And Curtis Reed decides he's going to dive. And look at that, 4 behind all go into the pits.
Well, you can almost guarantee that Jack Boyd is going to respond to that, be in the pit lane next lap by. He's going to be pushing on this next lap. He's got clear air in front of him. So, watch. Oh! Loxton.
Wow, the 209 having a huge moment as he gets down on the brakes. This is with Scott O'Keefe. He loses it, gets a big tap from O'Keefe, and he just bails. He comes down into the lane. So that is key, because that is Brett Loxton saying, I can't make it all the way to the end. He may have just decided, okay, I'm going to hit my box, I'm going to get maybe a lap or 2 of fuel, and then get myself going again. And in that pit stop window, Varga's going to come out too wide here with Gene Fittis. Fittis is going to jump him in the stop. But crucially, Guy Leach has jumped Curtis Reed as well. So Adam Gardner has gone through on all of them too. So Guy Leach now finds himself a lot behind. But this has completely opened the door for the likes of, say, Marlon Mullen, who is needing every inch possible. Brian Borg's still in this one. And Brian Borg currently is the net race leader of this one.
Yeah, there we go. So it's going to be interesting to see where Jack Boyd comes out. We're almost going to be guaranteed to see him take his pit stop. We are now on lap 10 of 21. So at the halfway distance of this race, the Dunlop rubble will certainly be starting to show some signs of wear.
You absolutely bet they are.
Oh, there we go. We've got a car around Ian Bird, one of the Mac 1 esports cars. He has turned around back in 36th position. We're just going to get a LeBlanc replay on that. See what's unfolded there. Looks like he's potentially just lost it all by himself.
That is 3 Mark 1 cars coming together at exactly the same time. So Ian Bird has certainly had no love lost. He's got the wrong end of the stick, as it may be. But I believe Mark Samuel's going to have a big word, because Mark 1 have just had a Mark 3 incident.
Yeah, there we go. So that's never what you want to see. I thought he would have lost it on his own. So Jack Boyd responds. He's in the lane. Very
Stokes,
committed.
Ross and Susan Harlow.
Yep, very committed pit entry there for Boyd. So where's he going to come out in relation to that battle pack he was with earlier? Matt Lepoidovin still staying out. He has gone into the effective race lead here, although he needs to still make his stop along with Mitchell Bales as well in that 77 MF racing car, riding on board now currently with Curtis Reed, and he's found himself in a battle. We've got Harlow leaving the lane.
And Marlon McMullen's just got past Jordan Ross, but he's been jumped by Stokes and jumped by Susan Harlow as well, which is not ideal at all. Ross is under pressure from Simon Pitts, who's actually battling here for position as they come off of pit road, so that will all be neutralised out. Thomas Hinds is on a world of his own. Jack Boyd has come out ahead of Guy Leach, very crucially there, despite the one lap fresher tyres and the outlap that's been able to work with. Look at Curtis Reed though, he's going to have this chance to make the move. Remember, this is going to be really slow from Jack Boyd coming off. He's going to lose one position, and Curtis Reed's going to try and maybe even bump draft to make sure it's two. He is. He's now going to try and jump and go down the inside.
No.
Oh, this is brave. And I think he may have just hit 25, and he will have hit 25. No, he's got the inside, and I think there's going to be not much to say about this. Guy Leach has lost the position. What a move, Curtis Reed.
That is absolutely fantastic. What a drive there. So Jack Boyd loses out, but this battle is not going to stop. Jordan Ross and Marlon McMullen, they are back together. These guys are very experienced racers. They know what they need to do. Expect fireworks to be let off between these two.
And let's not forget 1 and 2 in the championship respectively. Ross number 1, McMullen number 2. So at the moment, Marlon McMullen's got to do everything possible to keep behind Jordan Ross and to keep this race in his favour. He's lost 2 positions and 2 very big positions as well in terms of points. As Guy Leach has had himself a massive moment there as he was in his own little battle going on with Curtis Reed. This was coming out of Fania. He was trying to go through. He gets right on the curb and he is full opposite lock trying to save this one, but he's still got a chance to make the moves. They head towards the final chicane.
There we go. So it's all on for young and old here. Really hard to pick who can actually win it. We know that Marlon is certainly in the hunt. It was weird seeing
Leach has
Boyd
gone into
throw
him.
it under. Whoa!
Leach has hit Reed, and Reed's hit the tyres, trying to shortcut that final corner. He'll have damage, he'll have a slowdown penalty, and through will go Jack Boyd to get that one through. So I'm replay up on screen, and that was just Guy Leach trying to follow in the tracks, and he didn't leave himself there, Fonzie. Enough room to really get on the brakes as Curtis Reed is going to retire the car and effectively end his run here at Spa-Francorchamps. It was effectively just the case there, Fonzie, of just not leaving yourself enough room. And someone, I have to say, that races as much as Guy Leach, has as much experience as Guy Leach, has just committed a rookie error.
Yeah, I think that, hey, you know, it's under the pressure that you do, and he's trying to pull it up. Slightly different set of rubber on is what he was used to, and all it takes is that one little bit of the nab of the brakes, and well, it can be all over for you. And if there's a car in front of you, you don't know where to go. So yeah, disappointing there for Curtis Reed. He was driving fantastically well, and that battle was incredible.
A slight bump from Jordan Ross to Marlon McMullen, a sign of things to come. Potentially it is. Matt Lepoidovin has come out of pit road. He is behind Scott Gamble and David Kinman, so he is fighting around 20th position. Mitchell Bales is just behind that. Jamie McKnight runs a little bit wide behind him. Brian Borg is with 2, who has also come down and made a stop. So Jackson Susan Harlow, your race leader, but the fight for the podium and also the championship battle is what we will focus on for the moment. Jordan Ross picking up a good run off of the exit, can't unlock it though at corner Paul Frere. He's got to do it now here, Fonte, when it comes to the chicane.
Yeah, well, I was just seeing there, McMullen's car locked the left front going into that previous turn, so that would have given an advantage there to Ross. Hasn't been able to take advantage of that, but hey, we don't know what the fuel numbers are of these two cars. So is he just hanging on the back there and using that? So Kyle Stokes, I should say. So yeah, it should be an interesting one.
It should be very much so, Fonty, but let's not forget that they have the competition caution as well. That's the big game changer that could come in. That will bunch the field up, so although Jackson Suzlin-Harlow holds a 3-second advantage at the front of the field, no guarantees that this one is going to pay off in favour. One driver who is yet to come in and make a stop is Brenton O'Brien. He's in 6th position right now, and he's been holding out and holding out and holding out for a stop, and he has decided he is going to wait. Back though again to Jordan Ross, who has just lost ground coming out of Radion, as a fantastic run again from Marlon McMullen, who seemingly is fantastic when it comes to the high-speed corners around here and getting a top-speed setup going. It's the twisty section, the mid-section of the lap, where McMullen is struggling, and really, that's where you have to look at Jordan Ross to make a move. Maybe at Fania, maybe at Buon, maybe even as early as Ravage, as he's got himself a half chance of making a move. Does he dive on the brakes? No, he's not quite there. He needed half a 10.
Yeah, there we go. And all this while, they are slowing themselves down, so potentially leaving themselves open to other attacks from other cars. We do have, they're a little bit down the field. That's Thomas Hins, so we are going to see this competition caution, which is going to close everybody up, and then it's all going to be unleashed and unfolded from that point.
It certainly is. Adam Gardner gets by Michael Taliancic, who is 2 laps down. Oh, what could have been for him. Guy Leach, Sean Thompson, David Kinman, Scott Gamble, and Matt Lepoidovin all behind. This is a massively long train behind Matt Stratford. It stretches 3 seconds and stretches 6 vehicles. Big focus going on at the moment. Here comes Lepoidovin down the inside of Scott Gamble, and Gamble just sees that Lepoidovin runs a little bit wide as the caution comes out for Stealth Sinforce. Gamble does not pay off for Gamble. It works for Lepoidovin, but the caution comes here on lap 13 of this event. They will all bunch up once more, and there will be a 5-lap shootout, or maybe even a little bit less, to decide the win here. And of course, that sprint championship, which looks like it's in favour of 143, 1 place behind his main challenger, Marlon McMullen. The caution comes out and the game changes once again. Wow.
There we go. Wow. What an intense race we've got. I certainly love this track. It always turns it on. And what are we, lap 14 of 21. So the big sprint home. Does Marlon McMullen have it in him to come through, or is Jordan Ross going to try and upset that?
Well, we are going to see if that can be upset. Also, a reminder that Brenton O'Brien will need to come in and make a stop. He has, I believe, come in very early. He made a pit stop on lap number 3, so he will be looking to try and make sure that it works in his favour to see how much he can fuel save his way home. But the top 5, Suzlin-Harlow, Stokes, McMullen, Ross and Hins. This is actually perfect for Thomas Hins, because here's a driver, Fonty, that does like to stick his thumb in the mustard, so to speak. He knows how to get right in and amongst it, and he probably thrives the best when he's in a pack mentality.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Jake. It's going to be interesting to see where this all unfolds. I know that these drivers are going to be certainly arms will be out, gloves will be off once this safety car comes off. So I'm sure that we're going to see plenty of action unfolding in the dying laps of this race.
Drivers to keep an eye out on. Brett Loxton is back to 17th position at the moment. He will be looking to try and charge through the field in the final few laps of this one. Just behind him, 2 places, is Brian Borg, and they have Stephen Varga in between them. So that could very much be a big game changer in terms of how the mid-pack finishes off this event. In terms of your biggest gainers, Brenton O'Brien is the biggest at the moment. He is up an eye-watering 37 positions at the moment, trying to play the long game, but there are no guarantees that his long game is going to pay off, in the long term. Aside from him, you look at Gene Finnis, the Gene Genie for Jaya is up 8 positions at the moment. He's done a great job. Kidman, we've said so often just how good his work's been. He's up 22 for the work that he's done. Look at Scott Gamble. He's up 15 of his own. Drivers have made some great progress here today at what has been a ferociously hard-fought Spa race.
Yeah, it certainly has. It's been an absolutely great race. What battles we've seen throughout there. That battle between Jack Boyd and those guys, well, that was pretty incredible. And yeah, I'm sure that we're going to see Marlon McMullen, Kyle Stokes, and Jackson Susan Harlow really go at it. Who has the freshest tyres out of these guys? Probably
that would be none of them.
None of them have fresh tyres. So
well,
who has the freshest tyres?
Well, Marlon's got the oldest tyres of the lot, and all of Susan Harlow, Stokes and Ross came down on pit road at exactly the same time. So Marlon's really fighting the disadvantage at the moment here. So Fonty, the question becomes, has Marlon committed to his strategy a little bit too early here? And is it going to cost him in the final stages of this race and increase the gap in the championship, leaving so much to be desired for when it comes to Mount Panorama?
Yeah, well, big question really, isn't it? We've got one round left in the championship, and what a fantastic championship we have seen. I'm just riding on board with Marlon, and he is fuel saving as much as he can be. We still have the lights on the safety car, do we? Or are they off now? Yes, we do. So we've got another lap to go. So that's going to leave us with 6 laps to go. So very entertaining 6 laps, I'm sure.
They very well will be, and the question becomes now, will Brenton O'Brien peel it off into pit road? No, so he will commit, but someone who will come in is Michael Salyancic, just to get out of the way of some of the drivers here who are looking to make that push. Let's not forget here, Jack Boyd in this situation, though. We talked a lot about him in this race, mainly because he's been battling incredibly hard at almost every given opportunity. He finds himself, though, only 4 spots behind where he started, and if he can just get some very quick passes and overtakes going here, Jack Boyd is probably a candidate for maybe sneaking a podium.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, Jack, we know how fast he is, and yeah, his car's in pretty good nick, so yeah, I definitely wouldn't count him out being on the podium, that's for sure.
Definitely cannot, but anyone in that top 10 could feasibly find themselves on that podium. Adam Gardner, let's talk about him for a moment. He's had a great race meeting here at Spa-Francorchamps. He's normally someone who finds himself down in the midfield, but he has really stepped up his game here this evening at Spa. He is in 7th position right now, and if he can find a way to get by Brenton O'Brien, that's 6th, and then he's looking at some really big points and really some very good eyes looking on him, as maybe there is a certain few teams here and there who are going, well, we might need a driver for a certain little series coming up.
There we go. Yes, I'm sure that those guys are certainly watching. It's been a great event. All of our V8 Supercar stuff is really great to watch, and tonight is no different, that's for sure.
Some of the fastest drivers in Australian touring cars that you will find. These drivers know what is at stake for them around here, as they will soon head to the home of Australian sim racing at the beautiful Mount Panorama Bathurst to end the season, as is tradition here at AOSC. Big thing to look at, though. Look how far Brenton O'Brien is coasting and fuel saving. He's got at least an 8-second gap to Thomas Hinds, and if that isn't closed, and I don't think it's going to be before the time that this one finishes, because he's trying everything to fuel save right now, I think this one is going to be a 5-car shootout, especially as the iRacing Porsche First Safety Car comes in this lap.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's yeah, well, it's all about fuel saving. These guys, it's a long lap, so 6 laps. Some of these guys are just going to be finishing with milliliters to go. The lights are off on the safety car. Got Marlon McMullen, a very hungry Marlon McMullen. He wants to grab this championship. and I'm sure he will be driving very smartly to try and do so. But all good drivers within this top 10.
Oh, Leach is off. Guy Leach is off and Guy Leach is out, and it looks technical. By my reckoning there, it looks like he's really struggled. He just went straight right as he went off into the gravel at the second part of Fania, and that's it. That's done. That's Guy Leach gone from 12th position here. Drama just before the final restart of this race. And just like that, the sleuth car seemingly is out of the race. What a shame for Guy Leach that is. But Jackson Suzlin-Harlow now knows that there is one less driver behind him that will now challenge. Everyone behind will be very, very happy at the way that they are going. Nick Hausler, the chief steward here at AOSC, saying go on green, go on green. We're not going to sit, we're not going to wait. We are going to go on the green flag to make sure that there are no dramas and there are no worries whatsoever about this final restart. It's Suzlin-Harlow, Stokes, McMullen, Ross and Hinds. McMullen versus Ross is the title battle. Don't count out Kyle Stokes. He's trying to battle to keep his championship alive as they sit very close behind that safety car, and it will be a big, big checkup as they come up the hill from Jackson Suzlin-Harlow. And oh no, they're starting to bump and bang, and he finally gets the go-ahead. There will be the green flag. Let's go once more here at Spa. Look at Kyle Stokes. He's going to try and go to the inside. He can't quite get there. Has to go the long way around here on Jackson Suzlin-Harlow. He locks it up going into turn number 1, and Suzlin-Harlow just defends it as they now make their way up to Eau Rouge and Radion. Behind Jack Boyd trying to get aggressive there on Adam Gardner. He's not going to quite find it. But at the moment, it's Suzlin-Harlow, the man under pressure. They come up the hill at Eau Rouge and through Radion, and finally a little bit of respite, but there's another chance to make this move, and watch McMullen. Watch Marlon McMullen. That draft closing in to 1/10 of a second. Suzlin-Harlow half defends it, and they get on the brakes, and they all decide, well, we'll stay in line for the moment. Hinds trying to go around the outside here of Jordan Ross. How vital would this move be? And Hinds is through, is he? Look at Malmedy. Hinds is through. He's up into 4th position. Great work from Thomas Hinds. Little slide on the exit. This will give Jordan Ross the chance back. Huge defend as they head to Ravage, and around the outside of Ravage, they will go and look. And all of a sudden, Jordan Ross sees ground slipped in the championship.
There we go, fantastic start here. It's on for young and old, and battles throughout the field. I'm sure Greg Sharp will be really
look at Boyd
with that restart. Boyd on the outside though, he's gonna get the drive, but he's gonna be on the outside for the next turn.
Oh, he had a big wiggle going through there, and look at this, no momentum for Gardner, and Jack Boyd is just going to breeze on by, and he gets the position that he so desperately wanted. Look out for Gene Fittis as well. The Gene Genie looks for a wish in his magic lamp, and he's got nothing as he heads himself through the right and left of Fania. So now next up, Brenton O'Brien will be the big cork in the bottleneck as the top 5 have broken away in this field. Brenton O'Brien is driving to a fuel number, and Jack Boyd absolutely knows it as he heads himself to corner Paul Frere. At the front though, Suzlin-Harlow stretches his legs, the gap out to half a second.
Yeah, what an incredible start here. Brenton O'Brien under a lot of pressure. We can almost tell that Jack Boyd will be wanting to get that move done reasonably quickly. I think we will see it coming up into the braking zone at the bus stop potentially. He's got the run on the outside. Probably needs to be a bit patient though for this one.
Oh, has he gone in deep? He gets it back together again, and there's nothing O'Brien can do. Stuck on the outside, he'll keep battling as Gardner under pressure here from Guy Leach, and there's also the KRF car there of Sean Thompson. Will he look to the inside? And look at this, they could almost be 3 wide into the first corner. Well defended here by Brenton O'Brien, but again, around the outside comes the look. Greg Sharp trying to come in there as well as contact behind us. Thompson gets a tap from Stratford. That's Brett Loxton trying to get back through the field. He's already passed David Kinman, and he's now up into 12th position here as Brett Loxton. He's on a stormer, side by side up the hill. Jack Boyd special comes up at Eau Rouge and Radion.
Oh, wow, what an incredible move. Well done to Jack Boyd. And then we're seeing in the background there, gee, it is a car on the outside of O'Brien. It's going to be four wide. This is always dangerous. 5 laps to go. Going again.
Oh, that is contact! Finnis and Gardner come together, and Finnis comes back across, he tags O'Brien, and there's bottleneck, and there's going to be massive drama as many drivers go out. Loxton's included in this, and there surely has to be a very much a caution here. The track is blocked out on track, and surely it's got to be thrown in the late stages. They get it back together, and they will get it going. No caution gets thrown. Off as well as Daniel Stevens, off is Taliancic, and looking at that, Matt Lepoidovin involved as well. Disaster, which massively shakes up the midfield.
Wow.
So we're just getting word here, Fonty, that Stratford, O'Keefe and Brett Loxton all hit the incident limit and are out and disqualified from this race. So there's 3 drivers who will not see points come the end of this one. At the front, it's a 2-car scrap for the win. But for the moment, Thomas Hinds, this is the driver to focus on. He's keeping at bay a hungry Jordan Ross.
Yes, he certainly is, and that's what I was talking about before the race started. These drivers will be getting close to incident point limits, and we've just seen it. 3 key drivers are out of the race, and that's going to hurt their championship points. So Thomas Hinds, however, doing a fantastic job at holding off Jordan Ross. Jordan Ross is a very, very fast driver. We know how good Thomas Hinds is. Doesn't do well in recent times. He's been doing a little bit more of that supercar stuff, but yeah, Jordan Ross is no slouch when it comes to anything in supercar racing.
Very, very true. When it comes to Australian touring cars, he's one of the best. Now they've got 4 laps to hold this together. Jordan Ross, 4 laps to nullify the damage as much as possible and get back to Marlon McMullen, who may have just broken a second on Thomas Hinds, which will make Jordan Ross's life a little easier in terms of making the move up the hill through Eau Rouge and Radion. They come along once again for the 18th time out of 21, and Thomas Hinds still has the gap over Jordan Ross, who seems weak in the fast sections, but it's the slow and twisty where the ERT setup is really working out. That partnership with Apex Racing as well. The Apex Racing team is very, very crucial to what they are able to do as well, and it's proving for Triple Eight Kyle Stokes too in the top 5 battle. Elsewhere, the battle for the top 10. Finnis, Kinmond, Gamble, Bales, and side by side as through goes Brian Borg as he gets past Mitchell Bales to get a position. Now Jamie Stovall will try and get in this one and try and sneak a position of his own in the Mega Black racing car, and he will look down to the inside to try and make a move happen, and he will just not be there. Mistake comes in, and that is beautiful pressure coming in from Stovall. Not complete, but look at that, has to compromise the exit there. Mitchell Bales will hold on through the corner, but great exit speed. Thank you very much. Stovall's got one, and now Montalbano wants to pick one up as well.
Yeah, fantastic battles in the dying stages. We've got 4 laps left. Dunlop rubber is starting to wear out, but these guys are certainly not giving up. We just flick back to this Thomas Hinds, Jordan Ross battle. Thomas doing a fantastic job to hold back one of the legends in the sport, and looks like he may be even closing ground on McMullen.
I think he is the elite, but McMullen at the moment we know has been very good in these quick sections of track. This is where McMullen shines best, and for the moment they will be hot lapping it towards the end. It's Thomas Hinds trying to hold off Jordan Ross, and on the brakes into the chicane, another opportunity goes begging. A little wide line taken there by Jordan Ross. He's now exploring different lines, seeing if he's got anything to work with. Kinmond under pressure for 9th. Here comes Scott Gamble trying to go down the inside and try and pick up a position. He's late on the brakes, and they're going to come together, are they? Or a little bit of contact, but Kinman's going to hold on. No, he's going to slide it on the exit. There's one position, and there goes the second as one of the knights at the round table. Jamie McKnight will pick one off for the top 10.
There we go. So McKnight was a bit further down. He's managed to keep himself out of drama today, and his car is looking in pretty good shape, really. He's just found himself inside that top 10, so well done to Jamie.
Well, let's not forget Brian Borg's on the back of this train. He's probably the quickest of the lot, so keep an eye on that one. Jordan Ross again not in position to attack Thomas Hinds as they head into the rights and left. But now look as well at Marlon McMullen. He's under pressure now from, he's putting the pressure on Kyle Stokes. Look at Brian Borg. He's trying to get past Kinman here for 11th, and he may just think about going to the inside. He does, but he runs out of room, and he decides to Schumacher dummy to the outside to try and make this one work. He's still on that outside, not going to have the run there on the exit. It was a little bit wide, wasn't able to hold it close there with Kinman, but now going to get the run on the inside of Ravage. It's not defended there by Kinman, and this is going to be position given here for Brian Borg. He holds him out to drive, and now Stovald wants in.
There we go. So battles throughout this field, and this is just giving a gap there to Jamie McKnight. And we look further up the field though at the battle between Marlon McMullen and Thomas Hiddens. We've got Kyle Stokes in there as well. Those guys, I'm sure we're going to see some position changes. Marlon wants to drive a sensible race here towards the end. He is in the hunt for the championship, so nothing stupid, but every point helps, that's for sure, if he can manage to make his way past into that P2 position.
If he can get past Kyle Stokes, that will be money, because Jackson Susan Harlow's broken a second, and Jackson Susan Harlow is gone with the fairies. Mistake slightly there from Thomas Hinds. He runs a little bit wide, coming out of Blanchimont, and on the brakes into the right-left chicane. They come along once again, and again, it's Jordan Ross who's unable to answer the Thomas Hinds call. He started in 10th. He pre-qualified on a 2:22 time, mind you. He's just been getting better and better and better the longer this race has gone on. And there's no changes in that battle for the top 10, which now sees Scott Gamble as the big cork in the bottle in 9th position, as Jamie McKnight looks for one more with 2 laps to go. Big slide in the background, and that was one of the red back cars. That's Wayne Taylor, who loses out to Scott Clark, does he? Behind Ross Rizzo, who's on that recovery. And now look at this, as they go a little bit further forward. Let's look at this battle, because Gamble is still under pressure.
Yeah, here we go. Jamie's car is really coming on at these later stages in the race. He has some serious pace, and that Dunlop rubber is working well. What's he going to go like as he goes down this big, long, fast straight? He does look to have the run, but he's also in the draft at the same time. So Gamble trying everything he can to break that draft, but it's not going to do anything.
Oh, look at this. This is late. This is hugely late. Oh, he just can't get it there. Brian Borg's now going to be prime and altered, ready to try and get this, but Kinman's going to just pick up a piece, is he? No, he cannot be like the Artful Dodger and pick a pocket or two to try and get that position. Stovall now's going to try to the outside. He's not going to find anything. Scott Gamble is the cork in the bottle that they can't get by with 1.5 to go.
Here we go. It is all on for this top 10 position. It's, Gamble's car does not look to be in a good way. Certainly these cars behind Borg and McKnight look very, very racy. Kinman's car looks to also be struggling a little bit in front-end grip now, and he's also being under pressure.
He certainly is. Scott Gamble knows that he's got to defend. Also, the battle for 4th and for 2nd is still not over. Kyle Stokes is just holding the gap at what it needs to be. He lost 3/10 that last time by. The gap is 6. So now McMullen needs to claw that down as quickly as possible. Jordan Ross has got to go for broke as well, but he remembers, wait, I've got to be Alain Prost in this situation. I've got to try and just get as many points as I can. Hinds defends it into the final corner. Is that a sign of things to come, as the white flag will come out for Jackson Susan Harlow? 1 lap left to go. Great run from Jordan Ross then, as he picks it up off the exit. Hinds is all the way to the white line on the right-hand side of the circuit. It's got to be the long way round coming for Jordan Ross. On the brakes they go. Nothing. Hung out to dry, but he'll get a great run off of the exit here, and Thomas Hinds is under pressure. He's in trouble, you could say, as something goes off in the background there, and I didn't quite catch who that was. So that will be Gamble, who runs out into issues for the top 10. Oh, look at this! Contact! And Thomas Hinds is going to be into the tyres at Radion, and that ends his charge. And up into 4th goes Jordan Ross. 1 position gain back on Marlon McMullen. By hook or by crook it happens. But now, look a little bit further back. Jamie McKnight, Brian Borg, Kinman, Stovald, all battling for the top 10 as well. And let's not forget, Brian Borg is in that 10th position. They will serpentine. We'll keep an eye on this one as McKnight under pressure. Borgie, the Bryborg to the outside. Kinman may just make this 3 wide. If there was any time to be brave, it would have been now, but he doesn't. So McKnight going to try and hang out Borgie to dry. Does so, and now look at this, Stovall trying to the outside, he can't quite get there. Malmedy he tries, and still he can't quite get there. We'll have to do it at Rivage as well as keep an eye on Kyle Stokes as well. He's just got the gap that he needs to. So this one still going on, Stovall to the outside still trying, still hoping, still nothing doing. He's got the inside of Jackie Hicks, and I think he's just got a position he has, and this will allow Montalbano and Darren McKenzie in. Montalbano looking down to the inside. Oh, that's a brilliant dive from Montalbano as he gets the position. McKenzie will pick up scraps as well, and he will pick the position off of Kimman, who loses so much in the final stages of this one. But to the front now, Thomas Hinds is desperately trying to stay good. He's got Matt Lepoidov in there just behind. He'll be okay. Jordan Ross not close enough to McMullen. McMullen not close enough to Kyle Stokes. Kyle Stokes a mile away from the man who arguably deserves to win the championship more than anyone else. If only he turned up sooner. Jackson Susan Harlow, JSH, will head through the final corners, and JSH is taking a big win here at Spa-Francorchamps.
What a fantastic drive there by Jackson Susan Harlow, Kyle Stokes, and Marlon McMullen. Those guys were class acts today, but everywhere we have seen battles. I tell you what, Thomas Hinds was lucky to bring that car home after that incredible hit in the wall.
Not over. Oh, Montalbano makes the mistake. It's going to be a drag race here. Kimman might just steal one over the line. Has he got enough? Oh, it's going to be close. And it's going to be Montalbano who holds on by 17 thousandths. Oh, that was a tight one. Heading over to the finish. What great racing in the back of the pack we've seen as well here in this one as Shane Evans holds off Simon Pitt. But your winner, as we get official classified results on your screen. My goodness, we had an extra caution after instance early on. Everyone decided they wanted to bring their A game here to Spa-Francorchamps, but it's JSH, Jackson Suslan Harlow, who picks up the big win with Kyle Stokes finishing it off in second position. Marlon McMullen finishes in third with Jordan Ross fourth. Thomas Hinds are top 5, but drama on the last lap with Jordan Ross. The stewards are maybe going to have a word as Jack Boyd finishes 6th. Adam Gardner gets 7th with the Gene Genie. Well, I wish was his command. He got 8th place.
There we go. Jamie McKnight. He's got to be happy with that drive. He finished way, way down the order in qualifying. So to come back and finish 9th, well done to him. Brian Borg in 10th. Jamie Stobold in 11th. Darren McKenzie in 12th. Montel Albano in 13th. David Kinman 14th. Mitchell Bales 15th. Scott Gamble in 16th.
It was 17th place for Wayne Taylor as he held off Scott Clark towards the end. Stephen Varga gets 19th with Luke Page up 26 positions to snatch away a top 20 finish with Chris Barnes and Jet Bennett 21st and 22nd. A great drive from Jet Bennett there. Get there, a quiet drive as well. Jonathan Ben gets 23rd, Shane Evans 24th.
There we go, back to 25th. Simon Pitt, Tony Gaffer 26th. Greg Sharp, disappointing result for him. We saw him tangled up there on the restart. He will finish 27th. Ross Rizzo, we heard just in that last lap that he had been disqualified, exceeding the incident limit. So disappointing there for Ross Rizzo. Matt Lepidevin in 29th. Michael Taliancic 30th. Grant Cairns 31st. Daniel Stevens 32nd.
Branson O'Brien was tangled up in that massive incident at Lake Coombe. It will be 33rd on a non-finish. These are all non-finishers from here. Sean Thompson, Matt Stratford, Brett Loxton was a non-finish. He got caught up in all of that, as did Matt Muggleton and Scott O'Keefe and Wayne Pengilly and Matt Deere as well. Big dramas with a few laps to go, as we'll just get through the final few drivers as well who didn't manage to make it over to the line. That includes Jacob Knight, Guy Leach, Curtis Reed, who showed a great account of his battling skills. Now he's just got to find a finish to the end of this one. Mark Samuel and Ian Bird both coming together. While Mark 1 will certainly have a talk after that. Mark Newton, Troy Allen, Trent Gosley, Nathan Tregarthen, who was not happy with Jamie McKnight, and Troy DeBono makes 50, who did not make it over to the line. But we are going to step aside so incredibly briefly here on SimSpeed TV, here on the iRacing Esports Network, post-race coverage after this.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction. He's got rid of the outside of both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up top
Oh
here.
my God. Big crash. Oh my goodness. Half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys are going to want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, here we go. Oh no.
That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the post-race show here with AOSC, brought to you on the iRacing Esports Network. Make sure you leave a like and as well subscribe for more content from all of our partners here on the iRacing Esports Network, including ourselves, SimSpeed TV, RaceSpot TV, the Global Sim Racing channel. We got the likes of LSR TV, Podium Esports, and GSRC2. Make sure you check everyone out, as well as Apex Racing TV 2. But my goodness, you are not going to find much better racing than you have done tonight. A great scrap up and down the field here at Spa-Francorchamps, but it's JSH who has the victory. Jackson Susan Harlow joining us here in the commentary booth. Well, Jackson, I think it has to be said right now, you had to work a little bit harder than maybe you wanted to for that one.
Nah, I really enjoyed that. I really liked that second caution. It bring everyone back. I was really looking forward to having a good race with Cole, and yeah, we all had a real good race, so really enjoyed that one.
Let's talk about the pandemonium at the start for the moment, because you see Jack Boyd go alongside you too wide through Eau Rouge and Radion. You then find yourself looking at slowdown penalties, and everyone's just looking to pick a lane, and you end up trying to find a route on the grass. Just how hectic was that opening lap to deal with?
Oh yeah, when Jack got alongside me, I knew he wasn't going to back out, and he probably knew I wasn't going to, so we probably wouldn't have made it through there. So yeah, he started slowing down, and I had 2 cars beside me and more behind me. So I thought may as well go on the grass to get through instead of trying to get over and causing a crash. So yeah, we all got through good. So that's the main thing.
Well, you've been the man in form for the last month or so, and it seems that every time we come in and have a conversation with you, it's a number one next to your name. But Mount Panorama comes along as well. That will be the final round of the season. You got Brady Myers alongside you as your teammate. Surely you've got to feel confident with the run of form that you've managed to pick off.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Hopefully I'm home for Bathurst, but yeah, if I am, definitely will do it and try and get another win.
Well, before we let you go, JSH, any shout-outs or sponsors?
Yeah, TTL Esports, Down Under Graphics, SimWorks, Star Designs, and yeah, all the TTL boys.
No worries at all. Jackson Susan Harlow picks up race victory here at Spa-Francorchamps. A man who came third in that race was Marlon McMullen. Marlon, crucially, it's gains in the overall championship, but unfortunately, they are minimal and the sprint championship's gone away.
Yeah, I gave it everything I had today. I mean, that start I did was pretty awesome. I mean, I just absolutely knew I had to commit to something, so it was pretty cool to come out in the lead. And yeah, and then, I pitted early trying to get away from them all, and unfortunately I got held up in the traffic because I thought all of them would have passed by a bit quicker, but they didn't. So yeah, that's sort of where that one came a bit unstuck, but had a good little battle with Jordan. I was going to make it very easy towards him today. Obviously, we're battling pretty hard for the championship, but I knew it was pretty much done and dusted, so I'm not going to do anything silly like, Michael Schumacher sort of tactics. I'm not that sort of guy. So, he's done really well this season. He thoroughly deserves it. I put all the pressure I could on him today. I mean, even in the qualifying, you would have saw me sort of sidestep at the last second trying to get his draft and just, there's a bit of mentality games there. But, I did, as I said, everything I could today. Car felt really, really good. Obviously not as good as Jackson or Kyle's, but, towards next week, there's still one more thing to do with Borgie, and we'll see how we go. Only, I think, about 50 points off now. So that one's still alive, but just got to see how it goes.
A lot of work in place, but let's talk about the strategy call here today. You wanted to get out of battling early. You had the lead when you came down in onto pit road. You were probably going to be committing into a battle if you stayed out, but really in the final stages, was the issue of being on older tyres than all your rivals something that contributed to you being unable to get past Kyle and Jackson?
Well, I reckon I under-pressured the tyres because when I sort of was out front in the first stint, I wasn't really pulling away. They were sort of catching me. And then, towards the end of the race, the car started to feel a little bit better. And yeah, so I'm sort of just toggling around with pressures at the moment. It's hard because I'm all by myself. I don't know what to really do. I don't really have the time to go out there and do 20 million laps like I used to do. But, I'm learning week by week. And yeah, it's better than last week where, I put him about as hot as molten lava. So yeah, this week was a lot nicer driving on Eskimo sort of tyres.
Well, very much they were Eskimo tyres. And before we let you go, Marlon, any shout-outs or sponsors?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, thanks for West End Mazda for jumping on board. Same as Sam Black Block Media. Also Podium Broadcasting. Obviously in the new livery at the moment, so it's nice to have someone jump on board and put some stickers on the car so it doesn't look as blank as it should. But yeah, it's nice to have that bit of support out there, and I'll come back next season stronger and hopefully a bit better. I know what sort of went wrong this season, and that's all you can really do, just try and improve. And yeah, maybe next season I'll get number 20.
Well, maybe that may be the case, but Marlon McMullen gets a third position finish. His championship is still alive for the overall. Someone who had a good run today was Thomas Hinds. It's fifth position for him. But Thomas, the big contention point that we need to talk about, what happened with Jordan Ross on the final lap?
Well, just actually looking at it then, Jordan just messaged straight away to just to clarify everything. And I don't know, to me it felt like it was the most minor of contacts. It was so minor that the game didn't even register any contact. It was super minor, which is why when it happened, I kind of was a bit miffed. I thought, did I just go too deep? And he kind of scared me into doing it. I've done it to other drivers myself, but I think there was just the most minor of touches, like just minuscule. But of course, into Eau Rouge and these supercars, that's all it takes to put you off. So it's a shame that ended that way, but it was just hard battling. I know he didn't mean it. We were just battling super hard and had complete faith in each other. So I don't mind. Top five's top five. So I had a lot of fun in the end. It was some really good battling, plenty of chaos with whatever turn one was. But it was good fun. Good to get a good result.
Let's talk about that chaos, actually, because it was a more chaos-filled race than what many people have been led on to see over the course of this AOSC Championship season. So, really here, Spa-Francorchamps, I wouldn't say it's a track that would actively go out and promote this style of racing, but do you feel that drivers maybe were looking to prove themselves maybe a little too much at this stage in the season?
Maybe. I think that, and also just Spa, just because of the way it is, and it's not a track that's, well, I say it's not a track that's done much in the V8s. It used to be done more in the V8s. I remember when I first started, it was done relatively regularly, but it hasn't been done, from my memory, for a good year. I haven't raced around it for about a year or so, looking at the setups I've got. So it's been a while. So I think it may be more as well just a track that, is a bit unknown, hasn't been used for a while, so everyone was a bit not used to how it works. And because of the way it is in the supercars, it's such a different experience because it's something that's kind of built with higher downforce cars in mind. So it takes a bit of a different nuance in the supercars, which I think it can be a bit full on for some. But it's all good. It's full field around Spa, and any car is going to be interesting. So it was an interesting start, but managed to get through. Thankfully, didn't get a meatball. Thankfully, even though I got drilled pretty hard. But and then went from there and had a good battle at the end with Jordan, and it was good fun. Definitely exciting. Good stuff.
Bathurst coming up. How are you feeling?
Well, assuming that I'm off that night to do it, which I'm not sure if I am, because I'll be back at work next week anyway. But if I'm off and I can do it, then of course I'll be looking to do it. I think we're sitting 10th actually, the SRC car in the endurance standings, weirdly, despite the fact that we've just kind of turned up and done them for the lols, so to speak. I'm not sure if I can do it. I'm not sure who I'd be able to do it with. If I can get anyone last minute, we'll see. But if I can do it, I'll definitely be keen. And it's Bathurst. It'll be tough. Everyone will turn up for it and bring their A game because everyone's done 20 billion laps around there. So if I can do it, it'll be good fun. So fingers crossed I can. But hey, we'll see if the universe aligns for me with that one.
We'll see if it aligns for you. Thomas Hinds in the end picking up a 5th place finish from that one, but unfortunately we are going to just bring the curtains down here at Spa-Francorchamps after a hectic and crazy race that we have just seen. A massive thank you to everyone that gets it done for us here at SimSpeed TV and for AOSC, and that of course includes West End Mazda, Blacklock Media, and as well as LeBlanc, who have been key for the replays that we have seen. Scott Fountain, who had to just jump out a little bit earlier, to Jay Kennedy, who's been as sick as a parrot, has done a brilliant job with the cameras here to finish this one up, and hopefully that has lifted his sinuses and his spirits after the racing we've seen. I've been Jake Sperry, and my goodness me, if only Jackson Susan Harlow had started this season, he would be right up there, and we wouldn't be seeing Jordan Ross versus McMullen. But that is the way that racing goes. McMullen versus Ross comes down to endurance, and it comes down to the most fabled track in Australian sim racing. We'll speak to you very soon.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction. He got rid of the outside of both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up top.
Oh my God! Oh, big crash! Oh my goodness! Half the field's gonna get rolled.
Second very close. These guys I want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go. Oh no! That's massive.
This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?